So the Russo Brothers, who are working on Avengers Age of Ultron 2, Revenge of Ultron, Ultron's back again.
Return of the Ultron.
No, it's the Infinity War Parts 1 and 2, which is going to be the big culmination of all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff we've seen built up to so far. Have been talking a little bit about what they're working on. Now, this is kind of good news, but it's also like one of those times when it's sort of a minefield in that they kind of casually, offhandedly said that we have a board, it's got like 67 characters on it. Everyone's like, oh my God, there's going to be 67 characters in this film? And they later had to clarify that they're like, no, we didn't literally mean 67. We have so many characters we're dealing with. We're breaking ground on Avengers Infinity War. My teleprompter is just now showing me the quotes that I should have been saying, so I was paraphrasing there. But basically, they're saying that they're working with a lot of characters. This is sort of scary, and I think it's kind of worrisome that we've got this huge, massive project that's being set up. But it's worth noting that before we get Infinity War Part 1, we are going to have Captain America: Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, a brand new Spider-Man film, Thor Ragnarok, and Black Panther. And then we get Infinity War Part 1. And then following that, before Infinity War Part 2, we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel. And none of this is even counting Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, or the Netflix shows. And they could always add more of that kind of stuff along the way. And I mean, who knows? They might be like, hey, guess what? We got the X-Men. Cha-ching, finally.
It's honestly it's kind of it's a good problem to have this many characters concurrent at the same time. I think what was so interesting, were you an Infinity Gauntlet guy growing up?
I never read that.
Okay, so that was one of the first times as a kid I remember all of the Marvel characters coming into one place. Spoilers, there's a lot of really gratuitous shots of Thanos standing there and just dead characters everywhere. All your favorites are just dead. And you don't know if it's like an alternate dimension thing or if Warlock's going to be able to change time with his mind and fix it all. But the reason that kind of worked, to see Spider-Man in the corner, who's by far one of the most popular comic book characters of all time, was that he kind of had his own concurrent comic book series going on at the same time. Movies work a little different because you don't get that kind of running week-to-week, month-to-month story of having books and characters to relate to, or even other TV shows. It's more like, we haven't seen a Spider-Man movie in a while. We get one Captain America movie every couple of years. So to put all these characters into one movie gets a little worrisome for me. That was one of my biggest problems with Age of Ultron.
Right.
Was they were juggling so many characters at the same time. And I think with comic books, it's a lot easier to kill somebody off and then 6 months later or a year later come back and be like, just kidding, he's back. We haven't seen too much of that in movies yet, and I don't want to get into major spoiler territory, but most of the Marvel lineup has kind of been intact, aside from a few villains here and there, which might have gone kaput or might not have.
Right. Well, I don't think it's so much killing people off. It's more just like, who is everybody and what have they been doing? And that's one thing I really appreciate about the MCU is that so far the only one I haven't seen is Ant-Man. I've just been slacking on that front. I missed it when it was in theaters, and I didn't watch it on the airplane when I was last on an airplane, so I should probably just rent it. I guess that's what you do. But I like that it is this thing that comes out once every 3 months, if that, it's not that much of an investment of time. Whereas if I'm trying to track the comics, that's actually what always turned me off about Marvel is it's what makes it good, having a whole universe that everything's kind of intertwined with.
Right.
But if you go, I had this collection it was a digital collection of all of the X-Men. It was legal, it wasn't pirated, but it was all of the issues of Uncanny X-Men from 1963 when it first showed up, straight through 2005. And if you do this thing where you read it issue by issue, it mostly makes sense. Occasionally they'll be like, see what's happening in Fantastic Four for context here. When you get to the 90s, X-Men gets so big that it breaks into 2 different titles, and you can't even keep track of what's going on by reading one of them. You have to be following 2 at once. And it's like, they're trying to sell twice as many comics by having twice as many characters, and that's kind of cool if you like all those characters. With the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm not that worried about it. I don't think they're going to be putting any of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff front and center. Maria Hill showed up in Age of Ultron, right? She was on the show.
Yes.
And you got Agent Coulson and stuff, but they're just kind of there. It's kind of like Star Wars. If you know the story of the alien in the back, you get it, and you're like, hey, I like that guy, but it doesn't matter for the main story.